Everywhere you look across the West and across our closest allies in Asia, families are buckling. Australia, the UK, the US, Japan, South Korea, birth rates below replacement, marriage rates falling, singlehood rising, and whole cohorts growing up without stable homes. This didn't start yesterday. It didn't start with Instagram. It didn't even start with dating apps. The seeds were planted decades ago, when most of our societies went secular, and we never built a replacement code to protect loyalty, commitment, and family. The ledger. Australia's total fertility rate hit about 1.5 in 2023, a record low. Replacement is 2.1. We're not close. England and Wales fell to around 1.41 in 2024, also a record low. The US sits near 1.63, provisional 2024, down long term from earlier generations. Japan is approximately 1.20, and South Korea, the world's lowest, approximately 0.72. Different cultures, same direction. Now zoom in on relationships. In the US, roughly 6 in 10 young men, 18 to 29, say they're single. That's a structural shift, not a fad. In Seoul, single-person households are pushing approximately 40%. And the city literally funds a no loneliness program because isolation is spiking. Japan's surveys show late marriage, low dating rates, and a rising share who've never dated into their late 20s and 30s. Again, different cultures, same symptoms. How we got here, run the clock back. Australia, Britain, America, much of Europe. In the late 1960s and 70s, religion stopped being the centre of community life, church attendance declined, identity shifted, and no-fault divorce arrived. In Australia, the Family Law Act 1975 kicked in during 1976, and divorces spiked as long-separated couples finally formalised it. I'm not saying the old world had everything right, but those frameworks carried a blunt message. Family matters. When that anchor disappeared, we didn't replace it with a new set of norms that put stability first. From there, each decade nudged fertility lower, marriage later, family smaller. The digital accelerant, technology poured petrol on the fire. Dating apps concentrate attention. A tiny share of profiles hoover up likes while average blokes become invisible. Some app analyses show women like roughly 1 in 10 to 16 profiles. And platform engineers have shown likes concentrate heavily in a tiny top percentile. That doesn't make anyone the villain. It's just the geometry of the market. And when most men feel they don't matter, many check out. Combine that with casual culture, endless optionality, and algorithms optimized for novelty, not commitment, and you've created the perfect machine for delay. The economic squeeze. It now takes 2 full-time incomes just to tread water in most big cities. Housing is scarce and expensive. Childcare costs bite. Job security is patchy. And everyone's told to build your CV first, so people wait, and biology doesn't. Average age at first marriage keeps rising. Mid-30s for men, early 30s for women in places like South Korea. Similar trends across Japan and Australia. Even when governments throw cash at the problem, baby bonuses, subsidies, tax breaks, you might get a short bump, but it fades. Countries that have spent hundreds of billions haven't reversed the trend, because you can't bribe your way back to a culture that values family. You have to rebuild it. Didn't social media cause all this? It made it louder, but the long arc began before social media. Divorce rose in the 70s and 80s. Religious affiliation fell for decades. Marriage rates slipped. And by the time apps arrived, they amplified a structure that was already unstable. Tech didn't invent the trajectory, it accelerated it. Why this matters for national strength. Aging, shrinking societies are fragile, fiscally, militarily, psychologically. And when nations get internally weak, predators circle. Australia's security services have exposed and expelled foreign spies, disrupted dozens of espionage operations, and most recently moved to list Iran's RGC as a terrorist organisation after intelligence-linked proxy-directed attacks here at home. We've also seen Chinese foreign interference charges in Canberra and Russian spy networks kicked out in recent years. That isn't fear-mongering, it's reality. A fraying social fabric makes us slow, distracted, easier to push. Immigration as a band-aid. Governments plug demographic holes with migration. Sometimes it helps. But if your core culture is hollow, importing people can hide the problem without fixing it. And in some cases, add new fault lines. Integration becomes harder when housing is scarce, childcare is costly, and institutions feel brittle. This isn't about blaming newcomers, it's about telling the truth. Demographic decline can't be outsourced forever. At some point, nations have to believe in building families again. So what actually works? Not a single silver bullet, but a stack that pulls in the same direction. Make forming households easier. More housing supply where the jobs are. Genuine rental security. Practical pathways to ownership. Slash the cost penalties of kids. Childcare supply. Flexible work and parental leave that doesn't silently punish long-term earnings. Rebuild community. Third places, clubs, faith communities for those who want them, and real civic life beyond screens. Shift status signals. Celebrate people who build families and stick, in the same way we celebrate founders and athletes. Fix the dating market. Product changes that reward commitment, not just engagement time, and social cues that honour loyalty over novelty. None of that is anti-woman or anti-man. It's pro-future. Men need purpose. Women need stability. Children need both. We either rebuild a culture that values family, or we age out and fade. Where Unfiltered AU stands, I'm not here to preach a return to the 1950s. I'm here to be honest. Honest that secularization left a values vacuum. Honest that tech and economics may delay the default. And honest that our allies, Japan, South Korea, Europe, North America, are wrestling with the same cliff. This channel will push uncomfortable truths, but it's not about blaming women or men. It's about survival. Australia, the UK, the US, Japan, South Korea. If we can't relearn how to build families, we won't hold our ground in a rougher world. That's it for this episode of Unfiltered AU. If this hit home for you, drop a comment. I want to hear your take. And if you want more raw, unfiltered truth on the issues nobody else will touch, hit subscribe and share this with your mates. The more we talk about it, the harder it is to ignore. This is Unfiltered AU, and we're only just getting started.